Hello D2 gamers and welcome to Pandemic Game. Today we're going to cover the new Beyond Light Titan subclass called the Behemoth, and I'll give my first impressions on it and Stasis as a whole. The effect it has in PvP, positive and negative, and the direction I believe it needs to go in the future. So the super is called Glacial Quake. The Titan has a stasis gauntlet that he is able to use for Shiver Strike, which is basically where he lunges forward and destroys anything in his path, or Ground Control, where he does a slam to the ground and causes stasis crystal or plasma to come up out of the ground and freeze anything in the path. It's a very mobile super and pretty easy to get multiple kills, as once an enemy is frozen, you can go get coffee and make a sandwich before choosing how you want them to die. Unless that enemy is also in their super, then it's a battle of the fittest. But to me, the subclass is centered around the melee ability, the Shiver Strike. It can be very dangerous when used correctly. It has so many use cases for it, which makes the subclass very versatile as a whole. Use your melee to escape supers once you hear audio cues or see animations. I have plenty of examples of this. You can use it after breaking free from stasis to take cover in a hurry, or use it when you find yourself in the sight of a sniper rifle to get the heck out of dodge. You can use it to close gaps quickly, which is very effective when shotgunning and gives you a lot of different ways to make your approaches. You can use this melee to change directions immediately. This makes for smarter approaches, and it can also save your life. So let's go out to Fragment, where I was playing a comp match and I went up the stairs towards the A zone and got knocked back immediately, about to slam into a wall, and I was able to escape this near-death experience by using my melee as a counter to change directions. You can use this melee when an enemy is close to a ledge. Just take the smartest route to close the gap and use your melee to knock them off the map. The closer the enemy is to you when your melee is procced, the further the enemy flies. I've seen that if the enemy is towards the end of your lunge, it doesn't really have as much effect as if he was closer to you. Pro tip: become a Cabal Phalanx to knock enemies into walls if you find that they are standing near structure, but not too close to the structure, as they need distance to slam into the wall to create the kill. So let's talk stasis. Right now it's the hottest thing on the block, but to me, it's quickly getting old as it pertains to PvP. It's lowered the skill gap it takes to play a first-person shooter. Anyone can kill something that's not moving or shooting back, but that's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is that the intrinsic perks on the other subclasses that spam the ability after the kill. This breaks the game. It takes away skill in neutral gameplay and pretty much forces everyone to use the same subclass. The game makes the choice for you. So with a little tuning, I can see PvP being a more enjoyable experience, as the weapon balancing is pretty good after the changes. So bye bye auto rifle meta. Never thought I would say that. I've seen numerous different types of weapons in the Crucible, and this is the first time in a long time that this has happened. Now let's talk about some changes I think should be considered for the future of the Crucible as it pertains to stasis. If Bungie is not going to tweak the ability so that it doesn't automatically proc after getting a kill, I think they should make the abilities require a longer cooldown and take away a percentage of your super. This will make the game more balanced because you won't have as many abilities plus supers that freeze people and takes away the skill from the game. To make matters worse, the abilities track, so you don't even have to think about placing them, where you would if you were using a pulse grenade, an incendiary grenade, or a spike grenade. Again, this forces the community to only run one subclass to keep up. It's just not because it's new, it's because it's broken. So some positives of stasis. The abilities are good for people who like to sword peek or emote around the corner. You know, the people who are using the weapons and abilities for not how they were intended to be used. I love seeing people that are 3-peeking and then they get frozen when they still have their swords out. It really warms my heart. I personally think there should be an animation view that happens kind of like when you preview the emote or use a finisher. That way it takes longer to get out of it, and it will force people not to use it for 3-peeking unless they want to risk someone closing the gap while they're in that animation. Another positive of stasis is it slows down the rushing apes with shotguns, so we don't have to go back to not spawning with special ammo again like we did in D1. So these are my thoughts and tips on using the Titan subclass and stasis as it pertains to the Crucible. Do you think my suggestions to Bungie are fair? Do you foresee any drawbacks with my suggestions? Let me know in the comments below. Would love to get your feedback. Also, like and subscribe for support and turn on the notification bells and set those alerts so you can see when my next video is coming out. Sniper School Class number 2 is coming up next, but until then, enjoy the Crucible and weapon balancing. Pandemic out.